Welcome to More Than a Parent, a podcast exploring who we are and what we want outside of being a parent, so we can create an integrated lifestyle with impact both in and out of our homes. I'm Caz Gaddis, and I invite you to join me to be your more, live your and. Welcome to the More Than a Parent podcast. I'm Caz Gaddis. If you turned in, I sounded like Medea just there. If you tuned in to our last podcast, episode 9, we talked about productivity during this pandemic and things that we can consider doing to support us as we go forward into this kind of uncertain and unknown time, but also with a very empowered view of looking at what's possible, looking at what could work for you. So I hope that really served you. That was E009. If you go to cazgaddis.com/E009. Today's episode is going to be on the self-care piece. So if you heard again the last episode, I was in a place where I was feeling super paralyzed. There was just so much emotions going on, my own as well. And instead of staying in a place of being paralyzed in that, which I was, because it's a very real thing, especially when you have kids, it's looking at what is possible now. And so with that piece, we shared productivity on the last episode, and this one is going deeper. This one's going into how is it that you want to process through the feels that you're feeling, and then what do you want to do once you're there. So this episode is going to be even more heart-centered on that. I have some things as well that I'll be sharing. Before we go into that piece, I do want to share this will be available at cazgaddis.com/podcast. Specifically for this episode, you can also download the More Than a Parent Roundup on self-care. It's a guide for you available at cazgaddis.com/E010. So before I go into this more, and the reason I kind of had that pause that you heard there for a moment is this is a very real time. This is all affecting us in all different ways, and at the same time in very similar, real ways. I want to first do a collective pause with you. There's a power in the pause. And this is something that I mentioned in the productivity one that I love to do when I'm going into a call and I'm transitioning from one call to the next, or one activity, especially when you're balancing everyone being at home into the next. And so we're going to experience that together, because I think that will help us. And it may sound counterintuitive being on a podcast and doing this, but I'd love to share that with you. So what I'm doing is I'm getting on my phone, which is nice and sparkly, and it says More Than a Parent. And I'm putting on a 1-minute timer. So for the next minute that we're here together sharing the space, I invite you to truly see how you can pause what's going on around you, or at least pause within yourself. If you can close your eyes, do that. If you feel weird doing that, then don't do that. But just take a moment to just listen to the quietness, and let that re-center you for the rest of this podcast, because I really want this to serve you. And so we're going to take this minute collectively now. Okay, so that's a minute of time. I know it probably felt like a long time if you haven't done something like this before, but my hope is that in experiencing that now, you could also come back to that same feeling and experience that at another time that would serve you. So with us talking about self-care and where we are right now as a mom, especially, we're having to serve and nurture everyone and do all the things in a whole new level for most of us, right? Having the kids at home, the spouse at home if you have one, whatever it is, it's a whole new heightened level of being a mom. I laugh because that helps me get through it. It's funny. So when it comes to self-care, the first thing is really that I want to share myself as we go into the tips that everyone else is going to share. So if I hadn't mentioned that yet, this is a podcast roundup. So we have some amazing women that are going to be sharing with us on what helps them be able to recenter, recharge, replenish, and refocus on the self-care side right now, because we are in a pandemic and there's just a lot going on that we're having to manage both inside of ourselves and outside of ourselves. In my own experience, I've talked to probably 40 to 50 moms, specifically in my business, in my More Than a Parent coaching practice. And the biggest thing is that when we're in a place where we're feeling just kind of broken down energetically or emotionally or all the things, we're serving from a place of exhaustion, right? When you're in exhaustion, all you can put out is exhaust. And so when we work on our energy and how we're showing up, when we work in that personal power piece, we're able to elevate that energy so that we can serve from a place of abundance and overflow, so that we don't have to be like, oh man, well, I have nothing left to replenish myself. So the first thing is self-compassion. Self-compassion could be just taking a 1-minute break to pause and just let everything chill out, right? Because there's a lot going on. And having self-compassion in yourself, regardless if you work for someone or now you're working for someone at home possibly, or for your own business, it's knowing that you are totally doing the best you can, given the specific situation you're in, the specific way that things are showing up in your life and how it's affecting you. You are doing the best you can. So please love yourself as if you were your friend, that you would tell them all sorts of amazing things. It's so easy for us internally sometimes to say things that could really break us down. And just focus on the compassion piece and just flex that muscle this upcoming week. Look at ways that you can love yourself more through this, because it will help you get through it, and it'll help you serve and nurture and be at a whole new level. That 1-minute reframe definitely helps. And then also looking at what do you need right now? There's times where we allow ourselves to be led by fear and anxiety versus what is actually possible beyond that.
Hi, I'm Becky Mollenkamp. I'm a mindset coach. I work with high achieving, smart women who get stuck in their own heads and are looking for a little help in getting out of their own way so they can play bigger and build the life and businesses they want. I'm a mom to a almost 4-year-old son named Gus. Today I wanted to talk to you about how to ask for what you want and need, which I think is a really big self-care item, especially at a time like this when things are really challenging and unusual. It's easy to fall into the mode of not taking much care of ourselves and putting everyone else first. But I think it's really important to, even during this time, or maybe even more so during this time, to remember to look after ourselves, put that oxygen mask on ourselves first so that we can help others. But when we are so conditioned to not do that, it can be difficult to ask for things, to ask for what we want, or to ask for what we need. So I wanted to share a few tips about how to go about doing that. And first, it starts with knowing what you want and need. And that may sound really simple, but the truth is a lot of women, especially moms, don't really know when you ask them what it is they want or need. They haven't thought about it in so long. And so make a list. Think of things like a boundary that you want met. This doesn't have to be a list of things like I want a massage. It could be. It could also just be a boundary, a compliment, acknowledgement for the work that you do. alone time. And then you need to think about who can give you what you want or need. Asking somebody who has no power to be able to give you whatever it is obviously isn't going to work. So not only do we need to think about what we want or need, but who can actually do it for us, who can give us that. Then I think it's important to start thinking about how can you make your asks mutually beneficial. And sometimes that may seem like, how am I supposed to do that? What I'm asking for feels so inherently selfish. It feels like it's just for me. But even in those moments, we can usually find a way to frame it so that it is mutually beneficial. As an example, asking for some alone time may sound selfish when it feels like you're supposed to be, quote unquote, supposed to be taking care of your child. But when you frame it as, partner, I love you, and the only way I'm going to not go crazy in all of this and not end up angry is if I get a little alone time. You get your alone time. They know that you're going to not get angry at them, right? Or they know that if it doesn't happen, then your mood is going to affect them. We can look at another example like post-isolation, when your mother or mother-in-law wants to come by unannounced, by saying, could you let me know when you're going to stop by? That way I can make sure the house is picked up and things aren't crazy around here, and then I can be more fully present to spend time with you. That lets the other person know what's in it for them. What's in it for them is they're going to have your attention. They're going to have you in a better mood, right? I'm asking for a discount on a business tool, which right now a lot of us are trying to cut purse strings. Here's a way to possibly do that. Saying the way to make that be mutually beneficial, you might think, how do I do that? That's them giving me something for free. But when you say, I'm a customer who's been loyal, has paid on time for X number of years, I also frequently refer your product to my audience, would you be willing to reward my loyalty with a month of free service? That's benefiting them because they know that it's going to help you remain loyal. They know that it's going to encourage you to continue to share about their product. So that's making this mutually beneficial. Another tip I wanted to share is when it comes to those asks, make sure that we are asking, not demanding. And that's a way to really make sure, again, that people are going to say, okay, I'm happy to help. When we start to demand, I need you to do this, or you need to do this, go do this, give me this, people get on the defensive because it feels like you're demanding them, and no one wants to feel pressured or demanded. When you say, would you be willing to? It's such a simple shift in language that changes everything. Now people feel like they are having a request that they can meet, and they're doing you a favor, and that makes people far more likely to want to give to you. When we can get into the habit of asking for what we want and need, it can change everything in relation to self-care, because it's very hard to care for yourself when you're a mom and a partner without having to ask someone to support you in that, right? We can't just go and get a massage or get our nails done usually without having to think about who's going to watch the kids while I do this, or how's dinner going to get made, or what's my partner going to think, or any of those things. Even if you have the most amazing partner, the most forgiving of partners, we still have to be mindful of what other people have going on. So we always have to be thinking about, how does this self-care impact those around me? But that doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. And very often that's what we do. We say, well, it's going to inconvenience others, so I won't do it. So learning how to ask for what you want and need in ways that are healthy and productive and make other people feel good about helping you can change everything in making sure that you get the self-care that you need. So thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it.
Hi everybody, my name is Beck, and I am the founder of a company called Happy Little Humans. Basically, we use art and play to consciously grow happy little humans. I am an art facilitator, I am an educator, I am a speaker, and I love play, basically. So what I want to talk to you today about is how you can play and how you can take a little bit of stress out of overwhelm and all the things that come with being a mom. So I would like to start off with telling you a little tiny bit about what we're going to do. We're going to start doing a Zen tangle. So first of all, I want you to know that there is no mistakes, and basically it is just having a little bit of fun. So what I want you to do is grab a marker, whether that be or a biro, anything black preferably, and get a bit of paper, so either an A5 or A4 sheet of paper, and draw a random rectangle. Doesn't have to be ruled, all the way kind of around the outside in a little border. Then what I want you to do is get get your marker or your pen and literally do a random squiggle all over. You can hear me drawing on the page to create lots and lots of different lines all over, which will create subsections for you to colour in. Once you've that done, I want you to start doodling. So the whole point of doodling is for you to be able to pay attention. So despite popular belief, doodling actually keeps you focused by creating just enough stimulation to prevent your brain from reverting to its state of zoning out completely. It also gives you an emotional outlet. It lets you focus on something else apart from the crazy that's going on around you or all the things you have to do. It enhances creative thought and helps you actually think outside the problem. So for that, I would love to show you my little example. This is my little example, if you can see in the video. If not, in all the little subsections, if you're listening to the podcast, it's a different pattern or repeat pattern within that. So I have straight lines, which I can then add extra triangles or patterns with onto. I have dots. I have like little shapes here that look like fish scales. I have thick vertical stripes, thin horizontal stripes, zigzags that get larger in the middle in here. I have large dots, little stars, triangles, arrows, swirls, anything that you can think of. It is just about you taking a moment and filling in those little subsections with whatever you want to do. It can be absolutely anything. So much science actually to it as well. So basically, if I take you through the science, it is about helping your anxiety and hyperactivity, and can help with sleep also. So there's so many different patterns you can do, from straight lines, all that type of thing. So a few different things. I'll give you 3 different things. So squares need to get organized and to be constructive. Wavy lines are romantic and a soft approach. And triangles are a rational state of mind. One that I quite like is dots. I have dots everywhere in mine, which exhibits anxiety and instability. So what I would love you to do is have a little turn, see if it helps you zen out a little bit, and let us know. If you want to find anything more out about me or what I do, if you just look up www.happylittlehumans.com. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.
Hello there, this is Sharice Williams, also known as Green and Gorgeous, and I'm so excited to be with you today to share with you some quick tips. Actually, I'm going to share with you 5 quick tips on how you can just recharge as a parent. My children now are 18 and 21, in fact, and some of the things I'm going to share with you, you might think, oh my gosh, I can't do this. But you guys, one thing I do want to share with you is that most of the things that I'm going to share with you, I have practiced since they were little itty bitty. So as I'm sharing these tips with you, I would suggest don't automatically pull them off. Try to see how you can incorporate them into your life. Because I get it. As moms and parents in general, we are super busy. We wear lots of hats. But with that, again, it's so important to incorporate self-care. And in my book, self-care is all about self-love. It really is. We continue to pour out, and if we don't refill our cup, then what do we have left to give? So my first quick tip is gratitude, you guys. One thing I love to do, and I actually look forward to doing it every single morning, is just having a time where I can just express gratitude. I have a special place on my sofa. I have a nice soft blankie that I pull up over me, and I normally have like my favorite mug, and sometimes I'm just sipping on hot water with lemon, and other times I may have tea or something, but it's just my special time. I really regard that time as sacred. And I know sometimes it will require you maybe to wake up a little bit earlier than the kiddos, but let me tell you, when you start your day off with just a little bit of gratitude, it just makes all the difference. It's been said that what we appreciate appreciates. And sometimes you're going to be so super busy that all you can do is think of, okay, I'm just happy I opened my eyes this morning And that's awesome. And then other days you're going to be able to go just a little bit deeper, and that's cool too. So I normally grab my special notebook, sit in my special spot with my special cup. I normally put on a diffuser, just so I have some happy smells going on, and I literally just write out 5 things that I'm grateful for. And then the second tip I want to share with you is meditation. Now, years ago when I started meditating, it was so difficult for me to sit still. So difficult for me to sit still. So give yourself grace. If you're not a meditator, give yourself grace. Take just a second, 5 minutes if you can, 1 minute. If that's all you can do, that's okay. But just to stop and center yourself. Oftentimes, I can only speak for myself, but oftentimes the alarm clock goes off, I jump up and I start the day just frazzled. And it seems like if I start my day really frazzled, then the rest of my day continues to be frazzled. But if I just take that minute or 2 or 5 even, to center myself, clear my mind, there's no agenda. I don't have anything I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to be still before I have to jump into the kids and all the other activities of the house or work or everything that comes along with being, a working mom or even a stay-at-home mom. Because let's just face it, if you're staying at home, you're still working. You're working a lot and you don't really get breaks. So that's my quiet time. FYI, I don't know if you know this, but meditation has been shown to decrease blood pressure, to decrease cortisol levels, which of course we release cortisol when we're stressed. And stress is just it contributes to so much disease in our body. It also has been known to decrease depression, decrease anxiety. So there's so many great benefits just from sitting still, no agenda, just sit still, right? And just breathe. If that's all you can focus on, just breathe. But there's lots of videos out there on what to do, on how to meditate. A bubble bath. I know you're thinking, I can't take a bath. I got kids running around. I know, you guys, I have come to the point where I just take a bath once a week. Now don't get too crazy. I take a shower every day, but a bubble bath I take once a week, and I fill up with bubbles, hot water, and I just relax. And sometimes, when my kids were little, they would come in there and I'm like, okay, sometimes you can't go to the bathroom by yourself, and that's okay. You may not be able to take the bath all by yourself. That's fine, but do something that you can just relax. Just relax. The 4th tip, you guys, food and exercise. I know that's kind of 2 tips in one, but they kind of go together. Food and exercise. I read something that said, eat like you love yourself. I'm like, oh, that's good. A lot of times we just eat junk, right? And so it doesn't have to require a whole lot of time for you to eat healthy, unprocessed, just whole foods. It really doesn't. It's all about planning, which we plan anyway. But eat like you love yourself. Feed your kids like you love them, not just Cheetos. I know it's easy and it's quick and it's, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But I would challenge you to, instead of looking at it as yet another thing to do on the list, look at it as a treat. You get to treat yourself and your body and your kids with healthy, nutritious snacks, even meals, whatever it is. And then the exercise piece. You guys, we all know that we should be exercising, right? But the great thing about this is that it releases those natural endorphins, those happy endorphins. And this is something you can do with your kids. Now, the gratitude, of course, I would definitely recommend doing it by yourself. The meditation, those studies have shown that that kids definitely benefit from meditation. I would probably even encourage you to do that by yourself. But the food part, the exercise part, take your kids for a walk, let them run around the park, and then you do some squats or some push-ups or climb on the monkey bars with them. And just so you can get those natural, happy endorphins going through your body. And the last thing is, find a hobby. And I know you're like, I don't have a hobby. I don't have time for a hobby. But you guys, it could be something as simple as coloring with your kid. I like to color. Lately, I've been coloring. Maybe it's painting, maybe it's knitting, maybe it's writing, maybe it's reading a book, whatever it is. But find something that brings you joy other than just your kids. We all love our kids. We love our kids to pieces, but what makes you happy? What makes you happy outside of your kids, outside of anyone else? How can you independently make yourself happy? So those are my 5 tips, you guys. Gratitude, meditate, bubble bath once a week, food and exercise, and then ending with identifying a hobby and just doing something that makes you happy. You guys, everything that I shared, well, not everything that I shared, but if you're thinking, what kind of quick and healthy things can I make? You can look in the show notes, and I have a freebie there for you. As I mentioned, I'm Cherise with Green and Gorgeous, and I am on a mission to help moms create healthy and healing foods for their families. Thanks so much for tuning in. Talk to you soon.
So there you have it. We've talked about emotions. We've talked about expression and dance and just taking a break through all of it. We've shared different ways that have worked for us. Now it's your opportunity to look at and try on some of the things that you heard on this episode and see what would best serve you where you are right now. Maybe you try one of these ideas a day or one of these insights every few days and see what works for you. I look forward to seeing what serves you and what you think of it. Please make sure that you have support around you. Make sure that you have a community around you rallying, letting you know that it's possible and that you are possible. Go to facebook.com/groups/more than a parent. We would love to have you join us. We have a lot of fun things in store in there and also a space to talk about the not fun things. Whatever it is that you need, rally around you a community of moms that can support you and elevate you in the moments that you don't feel like you got it. Because Mom, I promise you, you got this. And we'll all get through this together. So, thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of More Than a Parent. To be your more, live your and.
Continue the conversation and connect at facebook.com/groups/more than a parent.